Welcome back to the Deep Dive. You know we love to really get into the weeds of a topic, and today is no different. We're going to be looking at the future of work. What skills do you need to not just survive, but actually thrive? We've actually got 3 different sources for this deep dive today.
Okay.
We've got a report from the World Economic Forum.
Right.
We've got a blog post from CareerBee.
Uh-huh.
And then we've got an article from a recruiting agency.
Interesting. So like 3 different perspectives.
Exactly. And hopefully each one will give us like a slightly different angle so we can get like
A rounded view.
a nice well-rounded picture of what skills we need to develop right now so we can be prepared for what's coming down the pipeline.
I love it.
So jumping right in.
Yeah, let's go.
One of the things that really jumped out at me from the World Economic Forum report was this stat.
Oh, yeah.
They're predicting that 44% of workers' core skills are going to be disrupted by 2027.
Wow.
And it's not just entry-level jobs either.
Right.
This is impacting everyone across all fields.
Yeah, that's a significant number for sure. And it really just shows how quickly things are changing. Like, it's not necessarily that the jobs are disappearing entirely. It's just the skills,
Right.
that are needed to do those jobs are transforming.
Like the game is changing and we got to figure out the new rules.
Exactly.
Faster.
Yeah.
So what are those new rules?
Yeah.
Well,
What are they?
all 3 of our sources here agree that analytical thinking is like
Oh, interesting.
super important, and the World Economic Forum report actually said it's the #1 skill
Okay.
that companies are looking for.
Oh, okay.
So why is that? Why is analytical thinking
Yeah, why is that?
so important?
In this,
especially
this world that's becoming increasingly data-driven and automated.
yeah, why do we need to be able to think analytically?
Well, we are swimming in data these days.
Yeah, that's right.
Every click, every purchase, every interaction generates data. But that data on its own is meaningless, right? It's like
It's just noise.
having a giant library full of books, but no way to read them.
Yeah.
Analytical thinking is that ability to read the data, to extract the insights and the meaning from it. As automation is taking over, more of the routine tasks, it's those people who can analyze and interpret and use that data to make decisions who are going to be the most valuable.
So it's almost like being a
Right.
data detective.
Totally.
You're like looking for clues.
Yeah, you're not just crunching
You're
numbers.
connecting the dots.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
you're finding those insights. You're solving the mysteries in the data.
And that's what companies are looking for.
It is.
So how do we make sure that we don't just all turn into robots, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All of the sources also emphasize the importance of creativity.
Yeah.
And in fact, the World Economic Forum actually predicts that the demand for creative thinking
Okay.
is going to grow even faster than analytical thinking.
Oh, wow.
So it's not one or the other.
Yeah.
It's both. And I'm kind of curious, how do these 2 skills actually work together
Yeah.
in the real world?
That's a great question, and they complement each other really well.
Okay.
So think about a marketing campaign, right?
Right.
You can use data to analyze customer behavior and figure out trends, but then
Right.
you need creativity to actually come up with the campaign that's engaging, that's memorable, that's going to resonate with your target audience. The recruiting agency article actually had a really good example of this.
Oh, what was it?
They talked about a company that used data analysis to figure out a specific group of customers who were really environmentally conscious.
Okay.
So then they used that insight to craft a campaign that was all about the company's sustainability practices.
Oh, that's hard.
And it led to a huge increase in sales.
See, so it's like the data provides the foundation
Yeah.
and then creativity built on top of that.
Exactly. And that combination is important across all industries, really. Product development data might tell you what features people want, but it takes that creative thinking to actually design those features in a way that's intuitive and enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings us to another point that all of our sources agree on,
Okay.
which is that these soft skills like emotional intelligence, leadership, and communication are still super crucial,
Right.
even as technology keeps advancing.
They're so important.
So why is that?
Well, technology can do some amazing things,
Yeah.
but it can't replace that human touch.
Right.
as workplaces become more automated, think about it, it's those abilities to connect with people, to build relationships, to lead and inspire teams that actually becomes even more valuable.
It's like the things that make us human are going to be the things that help us stand out.
And the recruiting agency article even said that companies are specifically looking for candidates who demonstrate strong communication skills, even for technical roles.
Wow.
So it's not just
for like sales and marketing anymore.
exactly, it's across the board.
Okay, so we talked about the big picture, but
Yeah.
let's get a little bit more specific here.
Okay, love specifics.
CareerBee actually gave us a great list of the top 10 future-proof skills.
Oh, nice.
So are you ready to dig into some of those?
Yeah, let's unpack some of those.
All right, so first up we have adaptability and resilience,
Oh, good ones.
which feel especially important in like
Really.
this crazy,
Pace.
fast-changing world.
World that we're living in. So
Yeah,
how can someone even figure out how adaptable they are or
Great.
resilient they are, and then what can they do to actually improve those areas?
yeah, that's a great question. I think self-awareness is really key here. Just ask yourself, how do you typically react to change? Do you embrace it? Do you resist it? Do you bounce back quickly from setbacks? Or do you kind of dwell on them?
Yeah.
And once you have a better understanding of your natural tendencies,
Right.
then you can start to develop some strategies for becoming more adaptable. So it's about recognizing those like knee-jerk reactions
Exact.
and being like, okay, is this actually helping me or
Yeah, is it serving me?
is this holding me back?
Right.
What about specific actions we can take?
Yeah, so one practical tip is to actually seek out opportunities, to step outside of your comfort zone, take on a new project at work, volunteer for something that, stretches your skills a little bit,
Yeah.
learn a new hobby that challenges you. The more you kind of put yourself in situations where you have to adapt
Yeah.
and problem solve, the more you're going to naturally build that resilience.
I love that. Get comfortable.
Yeah.
Being uncomfortable.
That's it.
So next up we have digital literacy. That's such a broad term.
It is a broad term.
What does it actually mean? What are the skills
Yeah, break that down for me.
that we need?
Yeah, what are the specifics?
Yeah.
You're right. Digital literacy, it's more than just knowing how to use social media or send an email. It's about using technology strategically and effectively.
All right, so things like data analysis are becoming increasingly important. So being comfortable with spreadsheets,
Right.
visualizations tools, that's a big, plus even basic coding or scripting knowledge is valuable even if you're not in a technical role.
Okay.
Familiarity with content management systems, digital marketing platforms, and even just like emerging technologies like AI, all of these things are becoming really important.
So it's like not just being comfortable using a computer.
Right.
It's understanding how to use it
It's about using those tools
in a way that it
add
really
value to you in your career.
Exactly. To really solve problems and be more effective in your work.
And as technology changes and evolves,
Yeah.
we're going to have to keep learning.
Right. It's all about continuous learning.
Lifelong learning.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to a skill that I think a lot of people find a bit intimidating,
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued.
which is data literacy.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
So what does it actually mean to be data literate?
Yeah.
And can you start building this skill without needing to like go back to school
Right.
and get a PhD in statistics?
Yeah. That's a good point. You don't have to be a data scientist to be data literate.
Okay.
It's about just being comfortable with data, understanding how it's collected and how it's analyzed, and being able to extract some meaningful insights from it.
Okay.
You don't need to be a coding whiz to do this.
Okay. That's good.
There are tons of online courses, tutorials, and resources that can really help you develop these skills.
So if you're interested in like dipping your toes in,
Yes.
but you don't want to feel overwhelmed,
Right.
where would you recommend someone start?
I would start with the basics, like understanding the different types of data,
Okay.
how to interpret charts and graphs, how to ask critical questions about data sources. Then you can start to explore some of the free online tools and platforms that let you play with data sets
Oh, cool.
and practice those analysis skills.
So there are resources out there.
There are tons of resources out there, and a lot of them are free or very affordable.
That's awesome. So it's about being curious,
Yes,
getting in there,
experimenting.
not being afraid to break things.
Exactly, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Okay, one more skill from this CareerBee list before we move on.
Okay.
Entrepreneurial mindset.
All right.
You might be thinking, wait a minute, I'm not trying to start a business,
Right.
but all three of the sources here suggest that this mindset is valuable, even if you're in like a very traditional job.
Yeah.
So how can someone who's like perfectly happy being an employee benefit from this?
Yeah, I think that's a really great observation, and it's true. An entrepreneurial mindset isn't just about starting a business.
Right.
It's about bringing that proactive, innovative, problem-solving approach to your work.
Okay.
So it's taking initiative, being resourceful, seeing opportunities where other people see obstacles, and these qualities are valuable in any role, in any organization.
So you're kind of a go-getter.
Yeah.
You're a creative problem solver.
Regardless of
Yeah.
what your job title is. It's about taking ownership of your work and looking for ways to improve things and just being open to new ideas and new approaches.
So you're someone who's going to bring value,
Yeah, you're a valuable team member.
no matter where you are.
Exactly.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground already,
Yeah, we have.
and I'm feeling pretty energized by all of this.
Yeah, me too.
But let's
Exciting.
take a look at how these skills are actually being used in the real world in part 2.
Sounds good. Let's do it. It's exciting to see how all these skills can come together.
It is. So let's kind of shift gears a bit and look at how some of these skills are being used in specific fields.
Right.
The recruiting agency article actually gives us some really good examples
Oh, perfect.
in marketing, sales, and even design.
Okay.
And it's kind of fascinating to see how even creative fields
Mm-hmm.
are becoming more data-driven these days.
Yeah, the lines are definitely blurring.
Yeah.
The article talks about how marketing professionals are now using data to like really personalize their campaigns. Oh, interesting.
Like it's not enough to just have a catchy slogan anymore.
Right.
You have to like back it up
Right.
with some solid data and insights.
Do you have like a specific example
Yeah.
of how that's actually playing out?
Yeah, for sure. One example that really stood out to me was how companies are using AI-powered tools to create personalized marketing messages.
Oh, wow.
So they're taking data about customer preferences, their browsing history, even their social media activity,
Okay.
to tailor their ads to each individual user.
So it's not just about sending out like a blast email to
Right.
your entire list.
Yeah, it's not one size fits all anymore.
It's really about
It's about crafting that message that speaks directly to each person.
That's pretty impressive.
It is, and it's super effective.
Yeah,
When you understand your customers on like a deeper level,
right.
you can create campaigns that are way more likely to actually resonate and lead to conversions.
What about sales?
Oh, sales is interesting.
Oh, salespeople.
Yeah, how are they changing? Adapting to this world of data and all this new technology.
Yeah, well, salespeople are becoming more data savvy.
Oh.
They're using data to identify potential leads, qualify prospects, even personalize their sales pitches.
Interesting.
They're using CRM systems to keep track of their customer interactions,
Okay.
analyze sales trends, and even make predictions about future performance.
So data is kind of like their secret weapon.
Totally.
Helping them close more deals.
It helps them understand their customers better,
Right.
anticipate their needs, build those relationships, and ultimately drive more sales.
Now, design seems like a field where creativity would be like the most
skill.
important skill.
The most important.
But even there,
Yeah,
data is playing a larger role.
it is.
So how is that happening?
So you're right, creativity is super important for design.
Yeah.
But data can actually enhance that creativity.
Okay.
So designers are using data to understand user preferences, test different design concepts, optimize user experiences. For example, they might use heat maps to see how users are interacting with a website.
Right.
And then they can use that data to make the website more user-friendly.
So even when you're talking about aesthetics
Exactly.
and creating something beautiful,
Yeah.
data can be
Super valuable.
really valuable.
If you're designing a website or an app,
Right.
you want to make sure it's not just visually appealing, but it's also easy to use.
Right.
And it's effective in achieving its goal.
And data can help you figure that out.
Exactly. Data helps designers achieve that balance.
It's like the data is the co-pilot
Yeah. I love
on this
that.
creative journey.
I like that.
So we've talked a lot about specific skills,
We have.
but all three of our sources really emphasize this idea of lifelong learning,
It's so important.
which feels especially crucial now
Yeah, especially.
with the world changing so quickly.
Absolutely.
But where do you even start?
Right.
What are some actionable takeaways that our listeners can actually use?
That's a great question. And the good news is there are tons of resources available
Okay.
for upskilling both online and offline.
Bye.
Online learning platforms like Coursera, edX, Udacity,
Mm-hmm.
they offer a huge variety of courses on basically anything you can think of.
Go on.
From data analysis to digital marketing to AI.
So no matter what school you're interested in,
Yeah, you can probably find a course on it,
there's something out there.
most likely, and a lot of these courses are free or very affordable.
Oh, that's awesome.
You can also find some great resources through professional organizations,
Oh, yeah.
industry events, even local community colleges.
So it's really about being proactive,
It is.
doing a little research,
Exactly.
finding those resources
I know it works for you.
that fit your needs and your budget.
Exactly. And you don't have to learn everything at once.
Right.
Just pick one skill that you want to focus on and start there.
Okay.
And once you feel comfortable with that, then you can move on to another skill.
So it's like building a house.
Yeah.
Brick by brick.
Brick by brick, you got it.
Okay, this has been a really insightful conversation.
Yeah, it has.
I feel like I have a much better understanding
Me too.
of how to navigate this
Yeah.
crazy world that we're living
Yes, future of work.
in. But before we wrap up,
Okay.
I kind of want to touch on one more thing. We've talked a lot about specific skills, but
Yeah.
these skills aren't just about getting a job right.
Right.
It's about thriving in a world that's changing so fast.
Absolutely.
So what does thriving even look like?
Yeah, what does that mean?
What's the bigger picture here?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's about so much more than just career success.
Okay.
To me, thriving means having that adaptability and the resilience to really face whatever challenges come our way. And that's not just in our work lives.
Right.
That's in like all aspects of life.
Yeah.
Being curious and open to new experiences,
Mm-hmm.
constantly learning, being able to connect with other people in meaningful ways.
Yep.
Those are the keys to thriving in a world that's full of, uncertainty.
I love that. So it's not just about like getting ahead in
Yeah.
our careers, but
It's about being a well-rounded human.
becoming more well-rounded,
Yeah.
engaged, and resilient.
Exactly. And seeing challenges as opportunities for growth and not being afraid to embrace change.
So we're not just future-proofing our careers,
Right.
we're future-proofing our lives.
I think that's the perfect way to put it. And by developing these skills,
Yeah.
we're not only preparing ourselves for the future, but we're also contributing to a more adaptable, innovative, and compassionate world.
I love that this has been such a thought-provoking conversation.
It has.
Thank you so much for joining us and sharing all of your insights.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And to all of you listening out there, remember, the future isn't something that just happens to us.
Right.
We create it.
We do.
By actively building these future-proof skills, you're not just preparing for the jobs of tomorrow. You're shaping the world you want to live in. So embrace the challenge, never stop learning, and stay curious.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.